Hello, good evening or good day, whenever it is for you. This is a video about everything that's going through my mind right now, in no particular order or purpose, besides just to ground myself through expressing myself to an audience of others. I was thinking today about, and I will tell you about this smoothie, but just give me a moment. So I was thinking today about structure in the human experience, structure that we create for ourselves. I was thinking about this in terms of productivity and people's discussion of, including my own, of how to be productive. And a lot of that discussion kind of implies that being productive is a good thing, of course. And I think for a lot of us, the idea that productivity is good is intuitive and or taken for granted. Okay, so how could productivity be a bad thing? Well, you'll notice that productivity by nature is structure. It's your mind creating structure where there was none before. You're producing a product. Productivity is producing a product. And when you produce products, you are taking the world around you and structuring it into something that it wasn't before. No other animal really has anywhere near the amount of structure that we do. I wouldn't say that animals don't have any structure, but certainly they go forward in life with a much more natural flow. They get up in the morning quite naturally, and they go about their business, finding food, quite naturally. They don't really make plans. They don't make schemes. They don't build things. They don't write things. They don't decide, they don't think about what's better or worse. So I think that humans are unique in that we are producers and we structure everything. And we don't structure everything. But that's kind of the point, though, is that we need to balance in order to express our true humanity. We need to keep a balance between structure and freedom, or whatever you want to call it. You could call it flow. You could call it nature. You get the idea. There has to be a balance between structure and flow. And I think that when we get in the mind that we just take for granted that it's good to be productive, well then are you going to structure every moment of your day? It's torture. If you intend to get up in the morning and you write it down, okay, I'm going to get up. Then from this time to this time, I'm going to do this. From this time to this time, I'm going to do that. All the way till bed. And then you could even with that, because I've tried that before. I've gone through, I've done a lot of experimenting with, how I can make my life better. So you can do that, and you can, and then you can do that, and then you very quickly fail. And then you think, okay, what did I do wrong? Well, I need to build into that some relaxation activities. That's a good start. and maybe you can sustain that for a little bit longer, but sooner or later, again, you're gonna go you're gonna go crazy, or you're just gonna kind of lose yourself in the structure. Because even if you are doing something relaxing, you're doing it in a way that kind of just fits in with this structure that your mind has created and is an arbitrary one. So how do you avoid this? Well, you have unstructured time, you know? I mean, I think that it's important to just realize that sometimes you have to let go and just do whatever you want to do. And maybe you do want to work, but if every moment of your day is structured, it's a crazy way to be. And Freud, I think, realized this, and well, his one of his most important works, Civilization. I think it's called Civilization and Its Discontents, something like that. Well, anyways, he puts forth this idea in this book that we are kind of well, he's commenting on Victorian society, which is, was contemporary with him, and he's saying how there's a lot of insane people and a lot of antisocial behavior because society became just so structured and so limited, and so there are so many ideas about what's proper and what's right and wrong. And he basically explained how we were kind of putting our beast selves in a cage and just ignoring it and trying to be totally structured humans. This was not coincidentally at all. In fact, it's totally related that right around the same time Freud was writing this, Darwin's work had just been published about how humans had evolved from monkeys. This is totally revolutionary. We really take that idea for granted nowadays about evolution. Seems kind of like a no-brainer to a lot of us. But at that point in history, it was not a no-brainer. It was revolutionary, and so it really affected Freud's view of the world, I think. And he saw, and Darwin's work opened up this discussion: are we men or are we monkeys? And I think Freud said, oh my gosh, we're both, and that's why we're so crazy. I think he saw that we don't have to be crazy, but as long as we continue to just push out the flow of beast being animals, then yeah, we will experience discontent. This also, it's kind of interesting. If you look back to around that time, early 20th century, look at some of the books coming out, like Tarzan and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and some other works. It's just they question, are we man or are we beast? Like what are we? Where exactly do we fit in? How far can you go to beast and still be man? How far can you go be a man, like, and not be any beast at all, right? That all kind of runs together, and I think it's good ideas to try to keep in mind for yourself. The experiment of our society. Well, it started quite a long time ago. I mean, trying to all the structure of religion, etc. It's a big part of what being human is. But if you have too much, you deny a big part of what you are, which is an animal. So you have to kind of let that out sometimes and just kind of just flow with things and do what you want to do. I think that trying to remain structured all the time. I need to plug my computer in here. Trying to remain structured all the time. It's trying to be specific. Trying to thinking that you can be productive 100% of the time is egotistical. It's a practice in the ego, and it's thinking that it's a good idea to be constantly producing is a product of ignoring the fact that we're not we're not all structure. Out of chaos arose a certain degree of structure, but we're not 100% structure. If we were, I think that life would not be beautiful. We would be computers. And I think to make life a little bit easier on yourself, you can kind of realize, what's really going on sometimes. You can't expect to be productive every minute of the day. Just let it go. And that also, it brings me to my second point of discussion, which is, you could call it many things, but I'll call it just moderation and relaxation for an approach to health and wellness. There are no absolutes, but there are guidelines to go by. And so that's, for instance, the idea of an 80-10-10 diet. It's a fantastic guideline. To try to get at least 80% of your calories from carbohydrates, and then fewer than 10 from fat, fewer than 10 from protein. It's a great guideline. And when you begin to eat this style, you just kind of get on a different frequency, and you understand why it is such a great guideline. But if you could, I don't have to necessarily talk about just 80-10-10. Any kind of, dietary regimen or what have you that you want to try, you're going to benefit greatly from feeling relaxed about letting go for just a little bit. With 80-10-10, I mean, it all you can let go sometimes, and it all averages out. It doesn't have to be every meal, every minute, every day. And also raw food is probably even a better example, because I think that one of the best ways to be eating more raw food is to eat cooked food sometimes. Let me explain this. So basically, everyone's different, everyone has a different experience, but I think an experience that a lot of us have, we try to be raw, is you go like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or longer raw, and you're like just doing it 100%, and you're like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And then you kind of hit a wall and you just freak out and you just start anything, anything. And it's just like anything goes because I couldn't do 100% raw, so I, screw it. Just anything goes. But what's more healthy? That or, being raw for a week at a time, and before you even get, cravings to eat cooked food, just have like a big bowl of rice or something with some fresh veggies tossed in there. Then you get up the next day and nothing went wrong. Everything is still okay. And then you go back to raw because you you realize that you didn't even need the cooked food in the first place, right? And so and then over the course of a year, you've had a bunch of bowls of rice, as opposed to over the course of the year, you've been like half the time you were raw, but then the other half you were just in freak out mode and just binging out on anything that you wanted. So it's good to relax a little bit, I think. The smoothie is I'm just kind of it's my dinner. It's a cup of water, 4 oranges, and a head of kale, a head of red kale. That's why it has this color. And it's pretty excellent. I bought the kale. I bought too many greens. I don't eat enough greens. I had to use the scale before it went bad, but it's great because I love having greens before bed. It's pretty much, my routine. It's part of my structure. I think that about wraps it up. I have a website coming out very soon, where I'm going to blog everything that I eat every day, every last little bit of it, as well as my sleep, my bed times and my rise times, all my participation in physical movement, that some would call exercise, and that's coming out very soon. I'll keep you posted on it if you subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Please, if you thought these ideas were interesting, please share this video with someone that you know. And, ask me any questions that you'd like. I respond to basically every question that I'm asked. So feel free. And I will see you very soon when I make my next video, which I'll probably make, a couple tomorrow. So, good night. It's night for me. I'm going to bed. Good night.